Play from Eerie CD. Play from Eerie CD. Hi everyone, I'm so sorry for the delay. And I just realized the starting of the stream hasn't been great. Um, there was some issue at the back end, but I think it's all resolved now. I'm sorry for the delay because I was not able to go live initially, but I'm kind of excited for this stream. I'll just take a moment to check out how many people have joined us. And maybe we can get started. There was an issue at the back end, but I think it's all resolved. I'm so sorry. It's I think my Alexa. Hi, I'm sorry. So my Alexa just started speaking in between. I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, so how have you been? How's your Sunday going? Um, the stream did not start well, did it? I'm so sorry about that. Um, so yeah, I'm still awkward because of that. Hi guys. Um, so I'm planning. So I finally decided to redeem myself. I'm so sorry. I'm all over the place right now. So I finally decided to redeem myself and pick up Harry Potter. And I plan for the following week, I'm going to read one Harry Potter book every day. I initially thought I'll be very ambitious and I'll try to do it over this weekend, but I just did not get the time to do so. But I'll be finishing the first book tonight. I started today. I'm lying. I started yesterday, but I just did not um, really focus a lot on it, and it's still pending, but I'll be finishing it today. And from tomorrow onwards, I'll be reading one book every day. And I just thought I'll just film myself while reading it and my experience of doing so. And just let me know if you guys are actually excited. Um, for today, I thought I would just maybe sit here and read a book and do my own thing, and you guys can join me in the process and we can read together but virtually. So let me know if you guys like this idea. There are a lot of people who've asked us and requested us for something like this, and we had not thought of it until quite recently. I did a live stream when I was home. I was sitting on the jhula in the garden and I was just reading a book, and there were quite a few people there as well. But let me know if you guys would want something like this. I'll just see who are in the chat. I am going to read Harry Potter, Kanan, but if you are in the chat, if you're still watching, but I don't know if I should be reading out loud. Let me know if you would want me to read it out loud to you, or can we just do our own individual reading and enjoy? Hey, Tayyab is also in the chat. Hi, Tayyab. Did you? Oh God, nice. Shresh is here. Alexa, okay, yeah. I don't. I'm so embarrassed because of how the stream has started already. But yeah. Hi, Kush. How are you? Mm. Hi, Shubham. Namaskar, Behan. Oh, nice. Is it candy eating? I was eating a candy and I thought the stream wouldn't start for like another 5 minutes because we were trying to sort out something on the back end, and the stream just started and I realized it much later, and now I'm awkward because I'm like, hey, but okay. Our own reading would be better, right? So, Kushal is on book 6 of Harry Potter. Dude, I'll be on book 6 in a week. But so let me know if you guys are actually interested. 60 people are watching us. I'm not wearing my specs, so I really have to bend over to look how many people are watching us. But I'm glad so many of you have joined us. And if you guys can comment down where all are you joining us from and what are you reading currently, it would be great. Would you like us to share some music while we do so? Because I want to make it a regular thing, because it just makes you feel, it just also forces you to read, but it also enables you to, I don't know, just pick up a book and read. So I thought maybe I could do this regularly, but I just wanted to try it out today. Hey, Zaki is also here. Oh shit. Nice. Kenneth is joining us from Mumbai. But let me know, guys, if this is something that really interests you, because I want to make the series a regular where we sit together and just read. But I understand a lot of people might have some, I don't know, prejudice. Again, not prejudice is the wrong word, but I know a lot of people might not be interested in something like this. But if you are, do comment down below, do like the stream so that it gets recommended to more people. If you have any ideas to better the vibe of the stream, let us know. And the first and the most important thing would be whether you want to see whether you want to see something like this happen more often. Hey, Reliance Trader is joining us from Calcutta. Aman is from Pune, and okay. Wow. Well, everyone is asking me what about Feynman. I'm reading it. I posted a few stories from my Instagram account today about Harry Potter, and there were like so many DMs like, "Are you reading Feynman?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I can read like multiple books at the same time." But I had been really dying to read Harry Potter. But yeah. Hey, Kritika has been watching my stories today. Got really excited after I picked up. I'm so sorry. Um, Hi from Noida, just wrapped Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now on to Bird by Anne Lamott, which is terrific up until now. Great job with all that you guys are doing. Hey, thank you guys. Have always maintained that whenever you're streaming alone, it kind of gets awkward because you're sitting in a room all alone and you're talking to yourself, and then you no longer know how you sound like and what the uh, temperature of the room is anymore. But am I rereading? No, I'm reading it for the first time, dude. Uh, Karthik. But I think like I really wanted to be a reading session, so I thought maybe you guys can just get started. And ideally, I would recommend we do our own reading. We do our reading separately. I read it here, and maybe that motivates you guys to read it along, or maybe I can read it out loud, whatever it is that I'm reading, and you guys can, I don't know, hear me out. But yeah, let me know whether you guys would want to read along or whether you would like to do your own reading while I do my reading here. So I'm just going to read. I'll be back to the comments in about 5 minutes. And the majority, whatever the majority says, that's something we'll follow. But in case you've just joined, do like the stream because that's just how the YouTube algorithm works. The more you like a stream, the more it gets recommended. And that would be really amazing if you would like to stream and share it with your friends and everyone. Hey, Priyanka Iyer is joining us from Chicago and she's reading America's First Hour. That's so cool. I'll just bring my camera a little closer to me. I just realized it's very far away. I'm not wearing any specs tonight. So I'm so sorry if I'm missing a few comments in between. I would ideally read them, but hey, Sachin's commentary Jhula stream was good. Please have more such streams. That's nice, Sachin. Thank you so much. Just keep on liking the stream, guys. We're at 45 likes. That's so cool. Let's bring it to 50 likes in the next, I don't know. I kind of feel very guilty when I give set targets for how many likes there should be on the stream, but yeah. Sabrish has commented, please recommend some books for beginners who want to start reading. I'm reading Harry Potter right now and it's very nice. I have to accept that I was absolutely wrong about not picking it up initially. I don't know why I never picked it up until now, but I'm finally glad. I'm very late to the party. I'm extremely late, but this is nice. This is nice. And I got late. Like initially, we'd scheduled the stream for 10 p.m., but I was listening to some music that I hadn't listened to quite in a while now. I think it had been like years, not years, but like many months since I listened to Queen and everything, and it was playing. And then I got a little emotional while reading Harry Potter, and I was like, let me just take a moment for myself. Nanjit has commented that he's actually listening to the audiobook version for this book a month. I hope that qualifies. Hey, definitely, dude. It's all about, we essentially read books to gain more knowledge. And in whatever form you are consuming a book, that's completely all right. I am yet to, I'm still reading Feynman. I haven't completed it. And I've realized you can pick it up from anywhere in the middle. So I'm not really going sequence wise because physics has never been my favorite subject. But the way Feynman has written this book is absolutely amazing. If you're someone who doesn't like physics, definitely pick up this book because it's going to amaze you anyway. Hey, Utkarsh Tyagi is here. Hey, Utkarsh is a friend. Harry Potter or Lord of the Ring. I haven't read either, so I can't say, but Harry Potter definitely because Lord of the Ring is like very thick. I don't think I would be able to finish it anytime soon. Tayyab, is it Tayyab? Oh, Shweta is commenting she's a beginner and she wants to start with, should she start with Harry Potter? Definitely. I would recommend, I don't know, but like as I was reading Harry Potter, I was so happy. And I all of a sudden thought to myself, hey, if I ever become an author, I want to be a children's author because it just gives you so much joy because you kind of define how much a child or how vast a child's imagination can grow out to be. And that's such a huge responsibility. Not that I wanted on myself, but I just thought, I don't know, I started romanticizing this thing because of Harry Potter. So pick up Harry Potter if you have to. And if you do not like Harry Potter, then pick up some topic that interests you and it will be amazing. Hi, Cinephile buddy. I am great. And how are you? What about you? Devrat has commented, Mr. Feynman on page 165. Hey, nice. 80 people are watching us. Guys, do like the stream. That's A. And comment down. Would you want more reading sessions over the weekend where we just, and we could do it during the day as well. We don't need to do it in the evening or at 10 at night. We could do it during the day and we could just read together, do our own thing. I could do my reading, you guys could do your reading. We would just be reading together, but virtually. So let me know if you guys would want to do something like that. Anushri is saying, hey, Vaani just picked up Tuesdays with Murray. Just guys, I am trying not to, but thank you so much for picking it up, Anushri, but I'm trying to not to move away from the topic. It's 10:55 at 11. I'm going to start reading my book and I expect you guys to do your own thing and read your book or whatever is next to you. If you want to read a newspaper, do so. Yep. Okay. Some really nice comments. Hey, Nagarjun has said, hey, Nagarjun is talking business here. And that's what I really like. Saying absolutely yes on the reading session would be a great motivation. Amanpreet is reading Dick King Kong. It's such a weird book in a great way. Karthik has commented, which house are you in on Slytherin? That's what I also get usually when I give the quiz. But I'll take the quiz once I'm done reading the book because I'm pretty certain it's going to change me as a person. My younger self would want it great. Dinesh is saying J.K. Rowling is cancelled in the West. People hate her now. I just think we need to learn how to separate the art from the artist. The better we get at it, the better we would be able to appreciate art that matters. But I'm yet to read Harry Potter, so I wouldn't really comment on the whole thing. But yeah. Okay. So Is it 11 already? 75 people have liked the stream, and there are nice. Thank you so much, guys. Keep on liking the stream. See, 90 people are here. We're doing great. Amazing work. Watchmen comic. Hey, you're reading Watchmen, Paritosh. That's super cool. And I think you've come to our live session after a long time. That's nice. So in about 3 minutes, I'm going to go read my thing, which is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And I would expect you guys to read something that you are trying to read. And maybe we can engage ourselves in the comments. But if we engage ourselves in the comments, nobody would be reading. But let's just do that. Got this from Ray Bradbury's lecture that reading a short story before sleep helps. Thanks to vaibhav for introducing Bradbury. Anthony Chekhov stories have become a ritual. Hey Manjeet, that's so nice. I'm trying to make Harry Potter a ritual. I'm also planning to make for the next episode. So all of the people who are here, 80 people who are watching us, keep on liking the stream. That'll be amazing. But for the next video that I'm going to do, I'm actually planning to. It's going to be about my experience of reading Harry Potter. My experience of reading Harry Potter in the span of 7 days, because there are 7 books, right? And I'll be reading one every day. And today is day 1, and I've started with Philosopher's Stone. Let me know what you would want me to cover in that video, apart from the time lapse of me reading and me giving some feedback from time to time. But yeah, let me know. And since there's 1 minute left, and then everyone should go and start reading. I feel weird, but I feel like doing on your marks, get set, go. But let me know. How many of you are actually planning to stay for the stream, guys? I'll be so disappointed because 90 people are here right now, and then all of a sudden the stream will be down to 20 as soon as I start reading. But do like the stream, and if you have any feedback, if you'd like us to share, because I'm trying to make this a regular. So even if we can as a community just participate in this, and if you guys would want me to play some background music while we're doing this, while we're reading together, let me know. We'll improve upon it every week if that is something you guys are actually interested in. You're a witch, Vaani. Should I translate to Hindi or just like you're a witch, Vaani, in terms of like Harry Potter thing? But it's 11 and I'm going to start reading, and off you go, guys. Start reading your own books now. And maybe in about 20 minutes, we can reconnect, 30 minutes, we can reconnect and see how far we've reached. So I'm on chapter 7, 121 page of The Sorting Hat. It's called The Sorting Hat. And let me know if you would like. I'll just read it out loud because that's how I like to read. And you guys can do your own reading. I'll read it in my mind. I think that'll be better. 98 people are here. That's insane. Nice, guys. Do like the stream because that's just how the YouTube algorithm works. And let's get to reading. And I am very excited if this works out well. And if you guys actually want it, maybe we can make it a regular and we can start reading our book a month together. That'll be taking it on the next level. But yes, The Sorting Hat. The door swung open at once. A tall black-haired witch in emerald tweed robes stood there. She had a very stern face, and Harry's first thought was that this was not someone to cross. The first years, Professor McConnell, said Hagrid. I'm trying so hard to not look at the comments. But hey, Vaibhav is here. Hey, hi Vaibhav. How's it going, buddy? 80 people are watching us. It's very difficult to not come back to the comments because it's so distracting. But I would try to read it out loud for you guys in case you are reading something else. You can watch this on mute. and maybe we can read it together. Welcome to Hogwarts, said Professor McGonagall. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the names wrong. The start of the term banquet will begin shortly, but before you take your seats in the Great Hall, you will be sorted into your houses. The sorting is a very important ceremony because while you're here, your house will be something like your family within Hogwarts. You will have classes with the rest of your house, sleep in your house dormitory, and spend free time in your house common room. It's kind of mean, no? Like you won't get to interact with people of different kinds. The four houses are Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. But each house has its own noble history, and each has produced outstanding witches and wizards. While you're at Hogwarts, your triumphs will earn your house points, while any rule breaking will lose house points. At the end of the year, the house with the most points is awarded the House Cup. And if you guys are just joining, please like the stream. And keep on reminding in the comments as well, because I don't want to take breaks from reading. While you're at Hogwarts, your triumphs will earn your house points, while any rule breaking will lose house points. This sounds like the school system I had while growing up. At the end of the year, the house with the most points is awarded the House Cup, a great honor. I hope each of you will be a credit to whichever house becomes yours. The sorting ceremony will take place in a few minutes in front of the rest of the school. I suggest you all smarten yourselves up as much as you can while you're waiting. Her eyes lingered for a moment on Neville's cloak, which was fastened under his left ear, and on Ron's smudged nose. Harry nervously tried to flatten his hair. I shall return when we are ready for you. Please wait quietly. She left the chamber. Harry, okay, I just got signed out of this. She left the chamber. Harry swallowed. How exactly do they sort us into houses? He asked Ron. Some sort of test, I think. Fred said it hurts a lot, but I think he was joking. Harry's heart gave a horrible jolt. A test in front of the whole school. But he did not know any magic yet. What on earth would he have to do? Oh, wait. Just give me a second. I just got logged out. I'm going to see if it's Vaibhav. I'm going to send him the link to the stream. Let me just do that. Yep. I'm sorry you had to see that phase of me trying to figure out the link and everything. But 65 people are here, not wearing my specs. I constantly have to move ahead and look at the stream. But keep on liking the stream as you join in, because that's just how the YouTube algorithm works. I hate to repeat myself, but it kind of becomes important. I hope you guys understand. Can I play John Williams? I really want to, I really do, but I'm just not sure I don't know if I'll be able to, if I'll get a copyright here. I don't want to risk Chalchitra Talks and doing that. But do like the stream if you haven't yet. Hey, Niharika is saying all the right words. And if you guys are reading something else, do mute it. Of course, I know you know better. But 70 people are still watching us. So, hey, it's nice. So let's do this. Where was I? I'm kind of excited because I'm reading Harry Potter. I want to put everything else in life and just read Harry Potter. And, but yes, Harry's heart gave a horrible jolt. We were here. He looked around anxiously and saw that everyone else looked terrified too. No one was talking much except Hermione Granger. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I haven't seen all the movies as well, so you can hate me right now. Who was whispering very fast about all the spells she'd learned and wondering which one she'd need. Harry tried hard not to listen to her. He'd never been more nervous, never. Not even when he'd had to take a school report home to the Dursleys, saying that he'd somehow turned his teacher's wig blue. Yes, please let me know if I'm pronouncing their names incorrectly, and also please forgive me for doing so. He kept his eyes fixed on the door. Any second now, Professor McGonagall would come back and lead him to his doom. Then something happened which made him jump about a foot in the air. Several people behind him screamed. What they He gasped. So did the people around him. About 20 ghosts had just streamed through the back wall. Pearly white and slightly transparent, they glided across the room, talking to each other and hardly glancing at the first years. They seemed to be arguing. What looked like a fat little monk was saying, "Forgive and forget, I say, we ought to give him a second chance." Haven't we given Peeves all the chances he deserves? He gives us all a bad name, and he's not really even a ghost. I say, what are you all doing here? A ghost wearing a ruff and ties had suddenly noticed the first years. Nobody answered. "New students," said the fat friar, smiling around at them, about to be sorted, I suppose. Okay, someone has commented Hermione ka pronunciation fourth book mein aayega. So great, I'll wait until then. But guys, keep on liking the stream. Hope to see you in Hufflepuff, said the friar. My old house, move along now, said a sharp voice. The sorting ceremony is about to start. Professor McGonagall had returned. One by one, the ghosts floated away through the opposite wall. Now, form a line. Professor McGonagall told the first years. And follow me. Feeling oddly as though his legs had turned to lead, Harry got into line behind a boy with sandy hair, with Ron behind him, and they walked out of the chamber, back across the hall, and through a pair of double doors into a grain hall. Harry had never imagined such a strange and splendid place. Yeah, nice. Okay, I'm really sorry that I don't have a British accent. Harry had never even imagined such a strange and splendid place. It was lit by thousands of candles, which were floating in midair over 4 long tables. This is so good. I kind of hate myself for not picking up Harry Potter before. These tables were laid with glittering golden plates and goblets. At the top of the hall was another long table where the teachers were teaching. Teachers were sitting. Professor McGonagall led the first years up here so that they came to a halt in a line facing the other students with the teachers behind them. The hundreds of faces staring at them looked like pale lanterns in the flickering candlelight. Dotted here and there among the students, the ghosts shone misty liver, mainly to avoid all the staring eyes. Harry looked upwards and saw a velvety black ceiling dotted with stars. He heard Hermione whisper, "It's bewitched to look like the sky outside." I read about it in Hogwarts, a history. It was hard to believe there was a ceiling there at all, and the great hall didn't simply open onto the heavens. Harry quickly looked down again as Professor McGonagall silently placed a 4-legged stool in front of the first years. On top of the stool, she put a pointed wizard's hat. Ooh, this hat was patched and frayed, extremely dirty. Aunt Petunia wouldn't have lit it in the house. Maybe they had to try and get a rabbit out of it, Harry thought wildly. That seemed the sort of thing. Noticing that everyone in the hall was now staring at the hat, he stared at too. For a few seconds, there was complete silence. Then the hat twitched. A rip near the brim opened wide like a mouth, and the hat began to sink. Oh. You may not think I'm pretty, but don't judge on what you see. I'll eat myself if you can find a smarter hat than me. You can keep your bowlers black, your top hat sleek and tall, for I'm the Hogwarts soaring hat, and I cap them all. This is getting so interesting, guys. And I hate myself for not picking it up. And I feel like reading all the fantasy fiction live with you guys. I wish Harry Potter wasn't as famous, so we would have been discovering it together. But I just feel like I'm the only one discovering this. But it's exciting. There's nothing hidden in your head. The sorting hat can't see. So try me on, and I will tell you where you ought to be. You might belong in Gryffindor, where dwell the brave at heart. Their daring nerve and chivalry set Gryffindors apart. You might belong in Hufflepuff, where they are just and loyal. Those patient Hufflepuffs are true and unafraid of toil. Or yet wise and old Ravenclaw, if you're ready in mind, where those of wit and learning will always find their kind. Or perhaps in Slytherin, you'll make your real friends. For scanning folk use any means to achieve their ends. It's kind of mean to say something about Slytherin. So put me on, don't be afraid, and don't get in a flap. You're in safe hands, though I have none, for I'm a thinking cap. That's so nice. It seems like the hat is so cool. Everyone would want to be friends with her because she kind of sorts everyone on the campus. She's kind of the, I don't know, the mean girl on campus. I'm sorry, very bad analogy. But do like the stream if you're joining just now. The whole hall burst into applause as the hat finished its song. It bowed to each of the 4 tables and then became quite still again. So we've just got to try on the hat, Ron whispered to Harry. I'll kill Fred. He was going on about wrestling a troll. Harry smiled weakly. Yes, trying on the hat was a lot better than having to do a spell. But he did wish they could have tried it on without everyone watching. The hat seemed to be asking rather a lot. Harry didn't feel brave or quick-witted or any of it at the moment. If only the hat had mentioned a house of people who felt a bit queasy, that would have been the one for him. Professor McGonagall now stepped forward, holding a long roll of parchment. When I call your name, you will put on the hat and sit on the stool to be sorted, she said. A bot, Hannah. A pink-faced girl with blonde pigtails stumbled out of line, put on the hat, which fell right over her eyes, and sat down a moment's pause. Hufflepuff, shouted the hat. The table on the right cheered and clapped, and as Hannah went to sit down at the Hufflepuff table, Harry saw the ghost of the fat friar waving merrily at her. Bones, Susan, Hufflepuff, shouted the hat again, and Susan scuttled off to sit next to Hannah. Boot Terry, Ravenclaw. The table's second from the left clapped this time. Several Ravenclaws stood up to shake hands with Terry as he joined them. Brocklehurst, Mandy went to Ravenclaw too. But Brown Lavender became the first new Gryffindor, and the table on the far left exploded with cheers. Harry could see Ron's twin brothers catcalling. Bulstrode Millicent then became a Slytherin. Perhaps it was Harry's imagination. After all, he'd heard about Slytherin, but he thought they looked an unpleasant lot. He was starting to feel definitely sick now. He remembered being picked for teams during sports lessons at his old school. He had always been last to be chosen, not because he was no good, but because no one wanted Dudley to think they liked him. Finch, Fletchley, Justin, Hufflepuff. Sometimes, Harry noticed, he had shouted out the house at once, but at others, it took a little while to decide. Finnegan Seamus, the sandy-haired boy next to Harry in the line, sat on the stool for almost a whole minute before the hat declared him a Gryffindor. Granger Hermione. Hermione almost ran to the stool and jammed the hat eagerly on her head. Gryffindor, shouted the hat. Ron groaned. A horrible thought struck Harry, as horrible thoughts always do when you're nervous. What if he wasn't chosen at all? What if he just sat there with the hat over his eyes for ages until Professor McGonagall jerked it off his head and said there had obviously been a mistake and he'd better get back on the train? When Neville Longbottom, the boy who kept losing his toad, was called, he fell over on his way to the stool. The hat took a long time to decide with Neville. When it finally shouted Gryffindor, Neville ran off, still wearing it, and had to jog back amid gales of laughter to give it to McDougall Morag. I kind of hate it when the names get really tough to pronounce. Hey, Pirthdev Sanrakshanam. God, this is so cool. I kind of hate myself for discovering Harry Potter very late in life. 24 years wasted. Malfoy swaggered forward when his name was called and got his wish at once. The hat had barely touched his head when it screamed, Slytherin. Malfoy went to join his friends Crabbe and Goyle, looking pleased with himself. There weren't many people left now. Moon, Not, Parkinson, then a pair of twin girls, Patil and Patil. then Perks, Sally Ann, and then at last, Potter Harry. As Harry stepped forward, whispers suddenly broke out like little hissing fires all over the hall. This is so cool. This guy's already famous. Um, Potter, did she say? The Harry Potter. The last thing Harry saw before the hat dropped over his eyes was the hall full of people craning to get a look at him. Must have been so cool, dude. Next second, he was looking at the black inside of the hat. He waited. Difficult. Very difficult, said a small voice in his ear. Plenty of courage, I see. Not a bad mind either. Just talent. Oh my goodness, yes. And a nice thirst to prove yourself now. That's interesting. So where shall I put you? Harry gripped the edges of the stool and thought, not Slytherin, not Slytherin. Not Slytherin, huh? Said the small voice. Are you sure? You could be great, it's all here in your head, and Slytherin will help you on the way to the greatness, no doubt about that, no. Well, if you're sure, better be Gryffindor. Harry heard the hat shout the last word to the whole hall, and he took off the hat and walked shakily towards Gryffindor. Okay. He was so relieved to have been chosen, not put in. It's kind of weird because I'm so excited while I'm reading this, and I do not want to read it out loudly, but I'm so excited and I'm discovering this. I'm really sorry about the enthusiasm. I feel like buying it in Hindi as well, by the way. Just putting it out there. He was so relieved to have been chosen and not put in Slytherin. He hardly noticed that he was getting the loudest cheer yet. Percy, the prefect, got up and shook his hand vigorously while the Weasley twins yelled, "We got Potter! We got Potter!" Harry sat down opposite the ghost in the raft he'd seen earlier, and I lost it because I got a notification on my room. I hate it on my phone. Sorry. The ghost patted his arm, giving Harry the sudden horrible feeling he'd just plunged into a bucket of ice cold water. He could see the high table properly now. At the end nearest him sat Hagrid, who caught his eye and gave him a thumbs up. Harry grinned back, and there in the center of the high table in a large gold chair sat Albus Dumbledore. Harry recognized him at once from the car he'd got out of the Chocolate Frog on the train. Dumbledore's silver hair was the only thing in the whole hall that shone as brightly as a ghost's. Harry spotted Professor Quirrell too, the nervous young man from the leaky cauldron. He was looking very peculiar in a large purple turban. Ooh, I know the large purple turban. I'm sorry, from the movies. And now there were only 3 people left to be sorted. Turpin Lisa became a Ravenclaw, and then it was Ron's turn. He was pale green by now. Harry crossed his fingers under the table, and a second later the hat had shouted, "Gryffindor!" Harry clapped loudly with the rest as Ron collapsed into the chair next to him. "Well done, Ron. Excellent," said Percy Weasley pompously. Across, Harry, as Zabini Blaze was made a Slytherin. Professor McGonagall rolled up her scroll into and took the sorting hat away. Harry looked down at his empty gold plate. He had only just realized how hungry he was. The pumpkin pasty seemed ages ago. I just made a mental note to not announce it publicly that I almost feel hungry as well, but that's going to use. Hey, 60 people are watching this, guys. Oh my God, 136 people have liked it. That's so cool, guys. Hey, nice, Chinmay. Guys, please like the stream if you guys want this reading session to happen more. The more you like the stream, the more it'll get recommended to people. And it'll be amazing if more people join us on the reading sessions. Not that I read greatly, but maybe from next time on, we can just play something in the background and I can avoid showing you so much enthusiasm while I read. Welcome. Okay. Albus Dumbledore had got to his feet. He was beaming at all the students, his arms opened wide, as if nothing could have pleased him more than to see them all there. "Welcome," he said. "Welcome to a new year at Hogwarts. Before we begin our banquet, I would like to say a few words." And there they are. "Nitwit, blubber, oddment, tweak." Thank you. He sat back down. Everybody clapped and cheered. Harry didn't know whether to laugh or not. "Is he a bit mad?" he asked Percy uncertainly. "Mad?" said Percy airily. He's a genius, best wizard in the world. But he's a bit mad, yes. Potatoes, Harry. Harry's mouth fell open. Okay, potatoes, Harry. Harry's mouth fell open. The dishes in front of him were now piled with food. He had never seen so many things he liked to eat on one table: roast beef, roast chicken, pork chops, and lamb chops, sausages, bacon, and steak, boiled potatoes, roast potatoes, chips, Yorkshire pudding, peas, carrots, gravy, ketchup, and for some strange reason, mint humbugs. The Dursleys had never exactly starved Harry, but he'd never been allowed to eat as much as he liked. Dudley had always taken anything that Harry really wanted, even if it made him sick. Harry piled his plate with a bit of everything except humbugs and began to eat. It was all delicious. That does look good, said the ghost in the rough sadly, watching Harry cut up his steak. Can't you? I haven't eaten for nearly 500 years, said the ghost. I don't need to, of course, but one does miss it. I don't think I've introduced myself. So Nicholas T. Mimsy Poppington, at your service. Resident ghost of Gryffindor Tower. Oh, I know who you are, said Ron suddenly. My brothers told me about you. You're nearly headless Nick. I would prefer you call me Sir Nicholas T. Mimsy. The ghost began swiftly, but sandy-haired Seamus Finnegan interrupted. Nearly headless? How can you be nearly headless? So Nicholas looked extremely miffled, as if their little chat wasn't going all the way he wanted. Like this, he said irritably. He seized his left ear and pulled. His whole head swung off his neck and fell onto his shoulder as if it was on a hinge. Someone had obviously tried to behead him, but not done properly. This is a very eerie, this is a very weird visual. I'm so sorry if it comes across weird because I'm reading Harry Potter for the first time and I'm very excited, if I may say so. Someone had obviously tried to behead him, but not done properly. Looking pleased at the stunned looks on the faces, nearly headless, Nick flipped his head back onto his neck, coughed, and said, So, new Gryffindors, I hope you're going to help us win the house championship this year. Gryffindor have never gone so long without winning. Slytherin have got the cup 6 years in a row. The bloody Baron's becoming almost unbearable. He's a Slytherin ghost. Harry looked over at the Slytherin table and saw a horrible ghost sitting there. With blank staring eyes, a gaunt face, and robes stained with silver blood, he was right next to Malfoy, who, Harry was pleased to see, didn't look so too pleased with the seating arrangements. How did he get covered in blood? Asked Seamus with great interest. I've never asked, said nearly headless Nick delicately. But everyone had eaten as much as they could. The remains of the food faded from the plates, leaving them sparkling clean as before. A moment later, the puddings appeared. Blocks of ice cream in every flavor you could think of. Apple pies, treacle tarts, chocolate eclairs, and jam donuts, truffles, strawberries, cherry, rice pudding. As Harry helped himself to a trickle tart, the talk turned to their families. I'm half and half, said Seamus. My dad's a muggle. Mam didn't tell me she was a witch till after they were... Mam didn't tell him she was a witch till after he... Okay, I'm sorry, I got distracted with a few comments. I was saying for the first time, I'm happy for you, to say the least. Yeah, it'll be so sad if it's no longer the first time. I feel sad for the people who haven't, I don't know. It's kind of sad when you can't feel the same feeling for the first time. But hey, Ayush is also here. Hey, Ayush, what's up? Like this, he said, irritated. Okay, guys, your comments are distracting me. The others laughed. What about you, Neville? Said Ron. Well, my gran brought me up, and she's a witch, said Neville. But the family thought I was all muggle for ages. My great uncle Algy kept trying to catch me off my guard and force some magic out of me. He pushed me off the end of the Blackpool Piper once, Fear once. I nearly tramped, but nothing happened until I was 8. Great Uncle Algy came around for tea and he was hanging me out of an upstairs window by the ankle when my great auntie Enid offered him a meringue. I don't know how to pronounce this. And he accidentally let it go. But I bounced all the way down the garden into the road. They were all really pleased. Gran was crying. She was so happy. And you should have seen their faces when I got in there. They thought I might not be magic enough to come. You see, great Uncle Algy was so pleased he bought me my toad. I don't know, I'm judging the characters a bit as I'm reading it, as I usually do. But like toad is not something to be proud of, right? Just asking, just curious. Also, guys, please like the stream if you're joining and also keep on reminding the new people in the chat because that's just how YouTube algorithm works. The more you like a stream, the more it gets, the more you like a video in general, the more it gets recommended. So if you have any favorite YouTubers apart from Chalchitra Talks as well, do like their streams because it'll get recommended more. Okay, where were we? They were all really pleased. Gran was crying, she was happy, and you should have seen their faces when I got in there. They thought, I might not be magic enough to come, you see, great uncle. Oh. On Harry's other side, Percy Weasley and Hermione were talking about lessons. I do hope they start straight away. There's so much to learn. I'm particularly interested in transfiguration, turning something into something else, of course. It's supposed to be very difficult. You will be starting small, just matches into needles and that sort of thing. Harry, who was starting to feel warm and sleepy, looked up at the high table again. Hagrid was drinking deeply from his goblet. Professor McGonagall was talking to Professor Dumbledore. Professor Quirrell, in his absurd turban, was talking to a teacher with greasy black hair, a hooked nose, and sallow skin. Professor Quirrell, the one with the turban, is the same guy who houses Voldemort here, like on the back is red. I'm so sorry, I might be wrong, but this is what I remember from the movies. It happened very suddenly. The hook-nosed teacher looked past Quirrell's turban straight into Harry's eyes. And a sharp, hot pain shot across the scar on Harry's forehead. Ouch! Harry clapped a hand to his head. What is it? Asked Percy. Nothing. The pain had gone as quickly as it had come. Harder to shake off was the feeling Harry had got from the teacher's look. A feeling that he did not like Harry at all. Who's that teacher talking to Professor Quirrell? Is he Snape? Okay, sorry. He asked Percy. Oh, you know Quirrell already, do you? No wonder he's looking so nervous. That's Professor Snape. He teaches potions, but he doesn't want to. Everyone knows he's after Quirrell's job. Knows an awful lot about the dark arts, Snape. Harry watched Snape for a while, but Snape didn't look at him again. At last, the pudding stew disappeared from Professor Dumbledore got to his feet again. We all fell silent. Just a few more words now. We are all fed and watered. I have a few start of term notices to give you. First years should note that the forest in the grounds is forbidden to all pupils, and a few of our older students would do well to remember that as well. Dumbledore's twinkling eyes flashed in the direction of the Weasley twins. I really like Weasley twins. I like the family a lot already. That wasn't in the book, that was me commenting. I've also been asked by Mr. Filch, the caretaker, to remind you all that no magic should be used between classes in the corridors. Quidditch trials will be held in the second week of term. Anyone interested in playing for their house teams should contact Madam Hooch. And finally, I must tell you that this year, the third floor corridor on the right-hand side is out of bounds to everyone who does not wish to die a very painful death. Harry laughed. But he was one of the few who did. Is that serious? He muttered to Percy. Must be, said Percy, frowning at Dumbledore. It's odd, because he usually gives us a reason why we're not allowed to go somewhere. The forest is full of dangerous beasts. Everyone knows that. I do think he might have told his prefects at least. Now, before we go to bed, let us sing the school song, cried Dumbledore. Harry noticed that the other teachers' smiles had become rather fixed. Dumbledore gave his wand a little flick as if he was trying to get a fly off the end, and a long golden ribbon flew out of it, which rose high above the tables and twisted itself snake-like into words. Everyone will, everyone pick their favorite tune, and off we go, said Dumbledore, and the school bellowed. Hogwarts, Hogwarts, Hoggy Hogwarts, teach us something, please. Whether we old and bald or young with scabby knees, our heads could do with filling with some interesting stuff. For now, they're bare and full of air. Dead flies and bits of fluff. So teach us things worth knowing, bring back what we forgot. Just do your best, we'll do the rest and learn until our brains all rot. I kind of remember my school's anthem now. It was like, it used to go like, Our Lady of the Snows High School, shake down thunder from the skies. What are the odds we great or small? Our Lady Snows will win overall. Very weird. But I like reading Harry Potter. It's really nice. If any of you are still watching, hey, 56 people are still here. That's amazing. Guys, do like the stream because that's just how the YouTube algorithm works. And I'll just continue reading. If you want me to shut up anytime, let me know because I feel like I'm very excited because Harry Potter is exciting. I've also been watching Succession, which is so exciting. I finished watching the episode 5, if Vaibhav is still watching. But yeah. Music. Okay. Everybody finished the song at different times. At last, only the Weasley twins were left singing along to a very slow funeral march. Dumbledore conducted the last few lines with his wand, and when they had finished, he was one of those who clapped loudest. Music, he said, wiping his eyes. A magic beyond all we do here. And now bedtime. Off you trot. The Gryffindor first years followed Percy through the chattering crowds, out of the great hall and up the marble staircase. Harry's legs were like lead again, but only because he was so tired and full of food. He was too sleepy even to be surprised. The people in the portraits along the corridors whispered and pointed as they passed, or that twice Percy led them through doorways hidden behind sliding panels and hanging tapestries. They climbed more staircases, yawning and dragging their feet, and Harry was just wondering how much further they had to go when they came to a sudden halt. A bundle of walking sticks was floating in mid-air ahead of them, and as Percy took a step towards them, they started throwing themselves at him. Thieves, Percy whispered to the first years. Okay. A loud, rude sound like the air being let out of a balloon answered. Do you want me to go to the bloody Baron? There was a pop, and a little man with wicked dark eyes and a wide mouth appeared, floating cross-legged in the air, clutching the walking sticks. Ooh, he said with an evil crackle. Ickle firsties, what fun! He swooped suddenly at them. They all ducked. Go away, thieves, or the Baron will hear about this and mean it, barked Percy. Peeves stuck out his tongue and vanished, dropping the walking sticks on Neville's head. They heard him zooming away, rattling coats of armor as he passed. You want to watch out for Peeves, said Percy as they set off again. The bloody Baron's the only one who can control him. He won't even listen to us prefects. Here we are. Okay, sorry, I broke the flow. Here we are. At the very end of the corridor hung a portrait of a very fat woman in a pink silk dress. Password? She said. Capu Draconis, said Percy, and the portrait swung forward to reveal a round hole in the wall. They all scrambled through it. Neville needed a leg up and found themselves in the Gryffindor common room, a cozy round room full of squashy armchairs. Percy directed the girls through one door to their dormitory and the boys through another. At the top of the spiral staircase, they were obviously in one of the towers. They found their beds at last. 5 four-posters hung with deep red velvet curtains. Their trunks had already been brought up. Too tired to talk much, they pulled out their pajamas and fell into bed. Great food, isn't it? Ron muttered to Harry through the hangings. Get off, Scrubbers. He's chewing my sheets. Harry was going to ask Ron if he'd had any of the truckle tart, but he fell asleep almost at once. Perhaps Harry had eaten a bit too much because he had a very strange dream. He was wearing Professor Quirrell's turban, which kept talking to him, telling him he must transfer to Slytherin at once because it was his destiny. Harry told the turban he didn't want to be in Slytherin. It got heavier and heavier. He tried to pull it off, but it tightened painfully. And there was Malfoy, laughing at him as he struggled with it. Then Malfoy turned into the hook-nosed teacher Snape, whose laugh became high and cold, and there was a burst of green light, and Harry woke, sweating and shaking. He rolled over and fell asleep again, and when he woke the next day, he did not remember the dream at all. Now we're on to chapter 8. We finished one chapter together, guys. Okay. I missed. Okay. I'll read until chapter 9 and then we'll end the stream. 50 people are still watching us. Nice. And 4 people have disliked the stream. Nice. But thank you guys so much for liking the stream. That's how the YouTube algorithm works. I'll take a moment to explain to the people who've joined us now. The YouTube algorithm recommends the videos that you like more. So if you're watching a live stream, if you watch any of our live streams especially, do like the streams, do ask the people who are watching along with you to like the stream, because that's just how the YouTube algorithm works. And it really helps us and means a lot, to be honest. But I'll just continue to chapter 8, the Potions Master. I don't know if you guys can sense my, I'll try to calm myself down a little because Harry Potter is overwhelming. I'm going to finish the book tonight. If not, I'll finish it tomorrow. But like over the next few days, I will, by Thursday, I aim to finish the books. There, look, where? Next to the tall kid with red hair, wearing the glasses. Did you see his face? Did you see his scar? Whispers followed Harry from the moment he left his dormitory the next day. People queuing outside classrooms stood on tiptoe to get a look at him, or doubled back to pass him in the corridors again, staring. Harry wished they wouldn't because he was trying to concentrate on finding his way to classes. There were 142 staircases in Hogwarts, wide, sweeping ones, narrow, rickety ones. Some that led somewhere different on a Friday, some with a vanishing step halfway up that you had to remember to jump. Then there were doors that wouldn't open unless you asked politely or tickle them in exactly the right place, and doors that weren't really doors at all, but solid walls just pretending. It was also very hard to remember where anything was because it all seemed to move around a lot. The people in the portraits kept going to visit each other, and Harry was sure the coats of armor could walk. The ghost didn't help either. It was always a nasty shock when one of them glided suddenly through a door you were trying to open. Nearly Headless Neck was always happy to point new Gryffindors in the right direction, but Peeves, the poltergeist, was worth 2 locked doors and a trick staircase if you met him when you were late for class. He would drop waste paper baskets on your head, pull rugs from under your feet, pelt you with bits of chalk, and sneak up behind you, invisible, grab your nose and screech, "Cut your conch!" Even worse than Peeves, if that was possible, was the caretaker, Argus Filch. Harry and Ron managed to get on the wrong side of him on their very first morning. Filch found them trying to force their way through a door, which unluckily turned out to be the entrance to the out-of-bounds corridor on the 3rd floor. He wouldn't believe they were lost, was sure they were trying to break into on purpose, and was threatening to lock them in the dungeons when they were rescued by Professor Quirrell, who was passing. Filch owned a cat called Mrs. Norris, a scrawny, dust-colored creature with bulging lamp-like eyes just like Filch's. She patrolled the corridors alone. Break a rule in front of her, put just one toe out of line, and she'd whisk off to Filch. This is why people hate cats. Who'd appear, wheezing 2 seconds later. Filch knew the secret passageways of the school better than anyone, except perhaps the Weasley twins, and could pop up suddenly as any of the ghosts. The students all hated him, and it was the dearest ambition of many to give Mrs. Norris a good kick. And then, once he had managed to find them, there were the lessons themselves. There was a lot more to magic, as Harry quickly found out, than waving your wand and saying a few funny words. They had to study the night skies through the telescopes every Wednesday at midnight and learn the names of the different stars and the movements of the planets. 3 times a week, they went out to the greenhouses behind the castle to study herbology with a dumpy little witch called Professor Sprout. where they learned how to take care of all the strange plants and fungi and found out what they were used for. Easily, the most boring lesson was history of magic, which was the only class taught by a ghost. Professor Binns had been very old indeed when he had fallen asleep in front of the staff room fire and got up next morning to teach, leaving his body behind him. Binns droned on and on while they scribbled down names and dates and got Emmerich the Evil and Uric the Audible mixed up. Professor Flitwick, the charms teacher, was a tiny little wizard who had to stand on a pile of books to see over his desk. At the start of the first lesson, he took the register, and when he reached Harry's name, he gave an excited squeak and toppled out of sight. Professor McGonagall was again different. Harry had been quite right to think she wasn't teacher to cross. Strict and clever, she gave them a talking to the moment they had sat down in her first class. Transfiguration is some of the most complex and dangerous magic you will learn at Hogwarts. Anyone messing around in my class will leave and not come back. You have been warned. Then she changed her desk into pig and back again. They were all very impressed and couldn't wait to get started, but soon realized they weren't going to be changing the furniture into animals for a long time. After making a lot of complicated notes, they were each given a match and started trying to turn it into a needle. By the end of the lesson, only Hermione Granger hadn't made any difference to her match. I'm so excited. It's difficult for me to read it now. But yeah. Hey, 183 people have liked the stream. That's so cool. 45 people are still watching us. So that's nice. I hope this number can reach 100 soon. It just feels nice when more people are listening to you and you feel like you're not wasting their time because the usual number for the streams is higher. Transfiguration. Okay. The class everyone had really been looking forward to was Defense Against the Dark Arts, but Quirrell's lessons turned out to be a bit of a joke. His classroom smelled strongly of garlic, which everyone said was the ward of a vampire he'd met in Romania and was afraid would be coming back to get him one of these days. His turban, he told him, had been given to him by an African prince as a thank you for getting rid of a troublesome zombie, but they weren't sure they believed the story. For one thing, when Seamus Finnegan asked eagerly to hear how Quirrell had fought off the zombie, Quirrell went pink and started talking about the weather. For another, they had noticed that a funny smell hung around the turban, and the Weasley twins insisted that it was stuffed full of garlic as well, so that Quirrell was protected wherever he went. Hey, 50 people are watching us. That's so cool. Can we guys get it to like 200 likes in the next one page? Please. Harry was very relieved to find out that he wasn't miles behind everyone else. Lots of people had come from Muggle families and, like him, hadn't had any idea that they were witches and wizards. There was so much to learn that even people like Ron didn't have much of a head start. Friday was an important day for Harry and Ron. They finally managed to find their way down to the Great Hall for breakfast without getting lost once. What have we got today? Harry asked Ron as he poured sugar on his porridge. Double potions with the Slytherins, said Ron. Snape's head of Slytherin house. They say he always favors them. We'll be able to see if it's true. Wish McGonagall favored us, said Harry. Professor McGonagall was the head of the Gryffindor house, but it hadn't stopped her giving them a huge pile of homework the day before. Just then, the post arrived. Harry had got used to this by now, but it had given him a bit of shock on the first morning with about 100 owls had suddenly streamed into the great hall during breakfast, circling the tables until they saw their owners and dropping letters and packages onto their laps. Hedwig hadn't brought Harry anything so far. She sometimes flew in to nibble his ear and have a bit of toast before going out to sleep in the owlery with the other school owls. This morning, however, she fluttered down between the marmalade and the sugar bowl and dropped a note onto Harry's plate. Harry tore it open at once. Dear Harry, it said in a very untidy scrawl. This is Hagrid, no? Yes. I know you get Friday afternoons off, so would you like to come and have a cup of tea with me around 3? I want to hear all about your first week. Send us an answer back with Hedwig. Harry borrowed Ron's quill, scribbled yes please, see you later on the back of the note and sent Hedwig off again. Okay. Harry borrowed Ron's quill, scribbled yes please, see you later. Okay. It was lucky that Harry had tea with Hagrid to look forward to because the potions lesson turned out to be the worst thing that had ever happened to him so far. At the start of the term banquet, Harry had got the idea that Professor Snape disliked him. By the end of the first potions lesson, he knew he'd been wrong. Snape didn't dislike Harry. He hated him. Oh, this is so fun. Professor Potion's lessons took place down in one of the dungeons. It was colder here than up in the main castle and would have been quite creepy enough without the pickled animals floating in glass jars around the walls. 200 people have liked the street, 201 people. Yay! Although it came in a page later, we're still happy we're doing this. It was lucky that Harry had tea with Hagrid to look forward. I hope by the end of this chapter, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5 pages long, we'll be to 250. Like, hey, this is what greed is. Dante's greed. I don't know. I'm sorry, but that's when I'll end because I'm also starting to feel a little sleepy. So I don't want to push myself a lot. But this is fun, guys. Whew. Okay. Potions lessons took place down in one of the dungeons. It was colder here than up in the main castle and would have been quite creepy enough without the pickled animals floating in glass jars all around the walls. Snape, like Flitwick, started the class by taking the register, and like Flitwick, he paused Harry's name. Ah, yes, he said softly. Harry Potter, our new celebrity. Draco Malfoy and his friends, Crabble and Goyle, sniggered before their hands. Snape finished calling the names and looked up at the class. His eyes were black like Hagrid's, but they had none of Hagrid's warmth. They were cold and empty and made you think of dark tunnels. You were here to learn the subtle science and exact art of potion making, he began. He spoke in barely more than a whisper, but it caught every word. I'm so sorry. I'm feeling a little sleepy, but I want to finish this chapter before I go to sleep. He spoke in barely more than a whisper, but they caught every word. I liked Professor Snape's personality because I imagine him to not be very loud in person. And as you've seen in the stream, he is very soft spoken, if I may say so. And that's just like how I am also in person. Like when Vaibhav met me, he told me he thought I'd be soft spoken, but not so soft spoken. So I kind of like how Snape has brought back the energy that I usually have in person. But this is so nice. Okay. Cool. Like Professor McGonagall, Snape had the gift of keeping a class silent without effort. As there is little foolish wand waving here, many of you will hardly believe this is magic. I don't expect you will really understand the beauty of the softly simmering cauldron with its shimmering fumes, the delicate power of liquids that creep through human veins. Bewitching the mind and snaring the senses, I can teach you how to bottle fame, brew glory, even stop at death. If you aren't as big a bunch of dunderheads as I usually have to teach. More silence followed this little speech. Harry and Ron exchanged looks with raised eyebrows. Hermione was on the edge of her seat. I need to go to bed soon. I'm so sorry. Hermione was on the edge of her seat and looked desperate to start proving that she wasn't a dunderhead. Potter, said Snape suddenly. What would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood? Powdered root of what to an infusion of what? Harry glanced at Ron, who looked as stumped as he was. Hermione's hand had shot in the air. She reminds me of the child I was while growing up, but I wasn't like always shooting my hand into the air. I don't know, sir, said Harry. Snape's lips curled into a sneer. Fame clearly isn't everything. So cool. Let's try again, Potter. Where would you look if I told you to find me a bezoar? Hermione stretched her hand as high into the air as it would go without her leaving her seat, but Harry didn't have the faintest idea what a bezoar was. He tried not to look at Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle, who were shaking with laughter. I don't know, sir. Thought you wouldn't open a book before coming up, Potter. Harry forced himself to keep looking straight into those cool eyes. He had looked through his books at the Dursleys, but did Snape expect him to remember everything in 1,000 magical herbs and fungi? Snape was still ignoring Hermione's quivering hand. What is the difference, Potter, between monkshood and wolfsbane? At this, Hermione stood up, her hand stretching towards the dungeon ceiling. I don't know. I think Hermione does. Why don't you try her? A few people laughed. Harry caught Seamus's eye and Seamus winked. Snape, however, was not pleased. Sit down, he snapped at Hermione. For your information, Potter. Asphodel and wormwood make a sleeping potion as powerful. It is known as the draught of living death. A bezoar is a stone taken from the stomach of a goat, and it will save you from most poisons. As for monkshood and wolfsbane, they are the same plant, which also goes by the name of aconite. Well, why aren't you all copying that down? There was a sudden rummaging for quills and parchment over the noise. Snape said, I don't know, I really like Snape. And a point will be taken from Gryffindor house for your cheek, Potter. Things didn't improve for the Gryffindors as the potions lessons continued. Snape put them all into pairs and set them to mixing up a simple potion to cure boils. He swept around in his long back cloak, watching them weigh dried nettles and crushed milk fangs, criticizing almost everyone except Malfoy, whom he seemed to like. He was just telling everyone to look at the perfect way Malfoy had stewed his horned slugs when clouds of acid green smoke and loud hissing filled the dungeon. Neville had somehow managed to melt Seamus's cauldron into a twisted blob, and their potion was seeping across the stone floor, burning holes in the people's shoes. Within seconds, the whole class was standing on their within seconds, the whole class was standing on their stools, while Neville, who had been drenched in the potion when the cauldron stock collapsed, moaned in pain as angry red boils sprang up all over his arms and legs. Idiot boy, snarled Snape, clearing the spilled potion away with one of his wand. I suppose you added the porcupine quills before taking the cauldron off the fire? Neville whimpered as boils started to pop up all over his nose. Take him up to the hospital wing. Snape spat at Seamus. Then he rounded on Harry and Ron, who had been working next to Neville. You, Potter, why didn't you tell him not to add the quills? Thought he'd make you look good if you got it wrong, did you? That's another point you've lost for Gryffindor. He's so mean. Why is he so mean, guys? Why? Also, if you're joining again, do like the stream, but why is he so mean to Harry? Okay, I know like some of the story. If you haven't, I know he liked Harry's mother, but that's all, and his father bullied him. This was so unfair that Harry opened his mouth to argue, but Ron kicked him behind the cauldron. Don't push it. I've heard Snape can turn very nasty. As they climbed the steps out of the dungeon an hour later, Harry's mind was racing and his spirits were low. He'd lost 2 points for Gryffindor in the very first week. Why did Snape hate him so much? Cheer up, said Ron. Snape's always taking points off Fred and George. Can I come and meet Hagrid with you? At 5 to 3, they left the castle and made their way across the grounds. Hagrid lived in a small wooden house on the edge of the forbidden forest. A crossbow and a pair of galoshes was outside the front door. Oh. When Harry knocked, they heard a frantic scrabbling from inside and several booming barks. Then Hagrid's voice rang out, saying, "Back, Fang, back." Hagrid's big hairy face appeared in the crack as he pulled the door open. Hang on, he said, back Fang. If they start eating something soon, I'm going to be sleeping what did I say? If they start eating in one of those views, like in the coming pages, I'm going to be so hungry and I really don't have anything to eat except for cookies. But yeah. I'm going to eat some candy until then. Hang on. Back Fang. He let them in, struggling to keep a hold on the collar of an enormous black boarhound. There was only one room inside. Hams and pheasants were hanging from the ceiling, a copper kettle was boiling on the open fire, and in a corner stood a massive bed with a patchwork quilt over it. Make yourselves at home, said Hagrid, letting go of Fang, who bounded straight at Ron and started licking his ears. Like Hagrid, Fang was clearly not as fierce as he looked. This is Ron, Harry told Hagrid, who was pouring boiling water into a large teapot and putting rock cakes onto a plate. Another Weasley, huh? Said Hagrid, glancing at Ron's freckles. I spent half my life chasing mere twins away from the forest. The rock cakes almost broke their teeth, but Harry and Ron pretended to be enjoying them as they told Hagrid all about their first set lessons. Fang rested his head on Harry's knees and drooled all over his robes. Harry and Ron were delighted to hear Hagrid call Filch, that old git. And as far as the cat, Mrs. Norris, I'd like to introduce her to Fang sometime. Do you know? Okay, I think this is like the remote British accent, like the ones they have extremely strong accent they have in the country. I think so. I speak like I know it so well, but I don't. And as far as the cat, for the cat, Mrs. Norris, I'd like to introduce her to Fang sometime. Do you know? Every time I go up to the school, she follows me everywhere. Can't get rid of her. Filch puts her up to it. Harry told Hagrid about Snape's lesson. Hagrid, like Ron, told Harry not to worry about it, that Snape liked hardly any of the students. But he seemed to really hate me. Rubbish. Why should he? Yet Harry couldn't help thinking that Hagrid didn't quite meet his eyes when he said that. How's your brother, Charlie? Hagrid asked Ron. I liked him a lot, great with animals. Harry wondered if Hagrid had changed the subject on purpose. While Ron told Hagrid all about Charlie's works with dragons, Harry picked up a piece of paper that was lying on the table under the tea cozy. It was a cutting from the Daily Prophet. Gringotts break-in latest. Investigations continued to the break-in at Gringotts on 31st July, widely believed to be the work of dark wizards of which was unknown. Gringotts goblins today insisted that nothing had been taken. The vault that was searched had in fact been emptied the same day. But we're not telling you what was in there, so keep your noses out if you know what's good for you, said Gringotts spokesgoblin this afternoon. Harry remembered Ron telling him on the train that someone had tried to rob Gringotts, but Ron had mentioned the date. Hagrid, said Harry, that Gringotts break-in happened on my birthday. It might have been happening while we were there. There was no doubt about it. Hagrid definitely didn't meet Harry's eyes this time. He grunted and offered him another rock cake. Harry read the story again. The vault that was searched had in fact been emptied earlier the same day. Hagrid had emptied Vault 713, if you could call it emptying, talking out that grubby little package. Had that been what the thieves were looking for? As Harry and Ron walked back to the castle for dinner, their pockets weighed down with rock cakes they'd been too polite to refuse. Harry thought that none of the lessons he'd had so far had given him as much to think about as tea with Hagrid. Had Hagrid collected that package just in time? Where was it now? And did Hagrid know something about Snape he didn't want to tell Harry? Oh God. I finished half the book today, so that's progress. But I think we're done here, guys. This was a great reading session. Let me know if you guys would want to do it again. Mm. Hey, Apurv is here. Okay. What toffee are you eating? I was eating Hajmola because that's the only candy I have right now. Uh, I only read the first and last page of the book. Always works for me. Wow, that's something. Uh, I don't understand. How does it work for you though? Okay, I'll read the comments that I might have missed out on. Um, guys, do like the stream if you're joining just now. Do you guys actually want to see it? Like, if you guys are still watching, how many of you were actively listening to this, and would you want to do something like this in the future? Or it's Anardana Apur. But would you like to listen to something like this in the future, or would you want us to do like quiet reading sessions? Because I tend to get overwhelmed when I'm reading out loud, and I do not like this because it's like a lot of energy. But yeah, this is nice. 53 people are watching. I like how, like the moment you stop reading, more people start showing up for the stream, which is kind of offensive if you think about it. But it's also like, people don't want to watch me read or what? But 225 people have liked the stream. I will be ending the stream soon. I hope we can get to 250 likes by then. But let me just see the comments that have been or maybe have not been. But let me know if you guys would actually like. I genuinely want to know, like, is it something that you would be looking forward to? Um, reading sessions with me. I could read, or maybe I could just sit here quietly and read to myself and not all of you, and maybe we could read together because I see all these read with me, study with me videos, and they're very aesthetic. And maybe we can try changing the setup a bit so that something is moving around the frame to get your attention, and or some aesthetic music is playing. But yeah, let me know if you guys will watch it. I'm a huge HP fan. Hey, Anuj has become a godfather. Listen to every word in your expressions for the icing of the cake. I'm so glad you didn't find that irritating. Okay. But yeah, let's do this more often, guys. What are the books that you'd like to? I mean, for the entire next week, we're going to do only Harry Potter. And because I am planning to finish Harry Potter, the entire series in the next month, in the next week. Post that, we can do a lot more reading session about the books. And maybe we can do it every time there's no stream schedule. I don't know. Like, let me know what you think about it. Is it something that you would want? And are you excited for the for the episode as well that I will do on Harry Potter series? I'm finally redeeming myself in a way. I haven't read Harry Potter for 24 years of my existence, and neither did I ever appreciate the movies properly because they would just scare me. But I'm finally redeeming myself. And if there are any guys who are just joining the stream, do like it because that's just how the YouTube algorithm works. Um, it helps us get recommended more, and it just helps us get to more people. So if you actually like the stream, do like it. If you like what we're doing, do like the stream because it gets recommended more, especially when we're live. Hey, Vaani, just reading too much of fiction disconnects you from reality. Sometimes it does. That depends from person to person, I believe. Um, I love reading fiction. I think I didn't. I had been reading nonfiction for a lot of nonfiction for quite some time, and even the book for the month is a nonfiction, if I may say so. And I had forgotten how good reading fiction kind of is. A lot of people look down on fiction because it's sort of a story. But I firmly believe fiction can help you learn or train yourself in empathizing with the world and with the people around you. A good story will always teach you about human relationships, about humans, about behaviors. more than anything else in the world. And I think fiction is extremely important for an all-round personality development as well. Non-fiction is good, self-help is good, everything is great. Fiction is also an essential part. Fiction should be something that you make part of your reading routine, because it kind of, storytelling is what we've done ever since we've lived. The people they started with painting. There were cave paintings to tell stories. It grew on and on and on. And we're still telling stories. That's just how we work. And fiction is one important way to connect with your imagination and just gain a lot of empathy. And sometimes it just helps. It's a great escape from reality. Okay. History ruins fiction. Why would you say that? Like, I don't understand your point. Because I love historical fiction. It's one of my favorite genres. I think it teaches you a lot about history. But then you're not supposed to take everything on face value in historical fiction. But well, this has been great, guys. I'm a little tired because I expressed a little too much. But I'm going to go back and read this. Probably I would sleep after leaving only a few more pages of this book. And tomorrow we'll start with the second book. And hopefully the video that will be released, or will be a review, not a review, but like where I finally sum up my thoughts on Harry Potter, would be something that you guys actually enjoy, because it's a very, very ambitious video. But let me know if this is something you guys would like, the reading sessions, and I would be really happy to do them. And we could do them even during the day, whatever time works for you. So if you're watching until now, do comment it, not in the chat, but like comment it in the video, under the video, not in the chat box, but like outside of the chat box, whatever, like comment under the video, like and share with your friends, but also comment and just give your feedback. Would you want more of such sessions to happen? If so, would you want me to read, or would you want us to just read quietly with some aesthetic music playing in the background? So let me know what your thoughts are. Not in the chat right now, but like comment it outside. And do like the stream. Let's get it to 250 likes soon. And 56 people are watching us. It's so nice. It's 12:10, guys. You should sleep. And so I'm going to end the stream now, and do comment it if you reached until now. When would you like to read it? And I hope you had a lovely time, by the way. But I would just end the stream here. It'll take me a minute. But yeah, I'll just end the stream now, and let me know if you guys would want more of such reading sessions. That would be amazing. We could pick up a book that we're reading for the month through these reading sessions. That just encourages you guys also to read. And I will be back with, I don't know, another reading session if you guys would like. Just comment in the main comment section. And I'm ending the stream now, guys. Good night and have a great week ahead.